Hi. Welcome to day 2 of my beauty event. And today is probably going to be my favorite day to talk to you guys about foundation and concealer. If you don't know about our foundation and concealer, we're going to kind of cover a little bit of the details on it. And then I'm going to go through and do some application techniques. As you can see, I just took all of my makeup off my face using, they are called Make-Off wipes. If you don't have these guys, they're amazing. They are like a must-need if you travel, if you are that lazy person who doesn't want to wash your face at night. These take everything off. Like, I'll show you even before we get started. Like, look at all the makeup that just came off my face. That's my foundation from the day. Like, crazy. So, anyway, we're going to talk about foundation and concealer. And most people, like a lot of people actually don't like using foundation or concealer just because they think that it takes away from their natural skin tone. Well, that obviously is the case, and foundation really is meant to counteract any imperfections and to, just even out your skin tone. We all want even skin tone, and even myself, like, I take really good care of my skin. I wash it morning, night. I give it literally everything I can possibly do to keep my skin healthy and blemish free. And I just had some hormonal breakouts, which you can see on my face. So they're a pain. So this is actually perfect timing for me to go through and show you how to do all of this coverage. So our foundation itself is 50% pigment, and we have a variety of different colors, and they're either going to be in an MB, which is the darker skin tones for darker complexions. That I have, these are all the olives. That's me. If you have more pink skin tones. And then we also have, where are you? I think this is it. We also have the yellow skin tones, which will be our Shintos. Hi, Tracy and Dee Dee. So these are going to be our Shintos. So what you'll want to do, like when you look at your foundation, like what color do you really want? And what's going to work the best for you is one, like me, like I kind of have some yellows and some pinks in my skin, but you're going to actually look down on like your chest area, kind of like down on your collarbone, your neck area. And you're going to see more of a pink tone, or you're going to see more yellows. And right now, because I'm so pale, I kind of have an in between, but I definitely see more pink tones. And the reason why you want to go down here is, as you can see in my own skin, I have a lot of red. I have a lot of red, but is it necessarily pink? No, it's just kind of like a hyperpigmentation, or you just have that redness. So you want to go off of your neck. That's going to give you the best matching results. So those are our foundations. Again, they're 50% pigment, they're wax-based, and they're non-comedogenic, which, long story short, is our foundations sit on the surface of your skin, meaning they're not going to get in your pores, they're not going to clog them, they're not going to give you, the blemishes and the acne and all of those icky things that you don't want on your skin. So our foundation is really kind of a 2-in-1. It's going to kind of protect your skin from those things getting in it, but it's also going to give you the coverage that you want. So you can do our foundation in a couple different ways. As you can see, you can use it straight out of the pan, just as it is. That's going to give you the full coverage. Or you can also dilute it. If you want more of like a BB cream or just like a more sheer foundation, you can actually go in. This is what was Must Do is now Due Date. It's our facial oil made with Palmerose and sunflower oils. And you can dilute it out so you can make it into a BB cream. So I'm actually going to show you a quick little example of how you can do that. I'm just going to find something to get a little bit out. So I'm going to show you on the back of my hand. So this is actually going to be Shinto, and it's going to be a cream, okay? So you can already see it's way too dark for my skin, but so you can take that. You can add just a little baby amount. That's going to be way too much, but you can add your oil to it, and you're actually going to be able to make it into a BB cream. So one, it's going to give you a lot more product, but it's also going to sheer it out, so it's not such a full coverage foundation. It's great. So not only are you getting the foundation coverage, and it's going to even out your skin tone, but when you add like an oil into it, you're actually going to be hydrating at the same time. So it's actually going to be really, really good for your skin when you do that. So you can see how I sheared it out. So if we were to do just the foundation, this is without any oils in it. You see how much more pigment there is, and it's just more of a solid coverage. It's not sheared out like it is over here. So that's a really awesome factor with ours. So regardless of what foundation you are really in love with or used to using, you can make our foundation kind of work for you. So it's also, I think our foundation is also vegan and it's paraben free. Our foundation just switched over to that different formula. So it's paraben free. So it doesn't have any preservatives in it. It doesn't have any of those icky things. So, but we're going to kind of prep my face and I'm going to show you foundation application. And then we're going to go in and touch up all of these little areas like my under eye. I have sunken eyes. I don't have enough of the fat cells under here. So if you can see, it's sunken in. It's not poofy. So I'm going to show you how to counteract those. So the color I use, if you couldn't tell, is Gina Beige. I'm actually on the verge of dropping down to the next lightest shade. And you're just going to take, and you can do a couple different application techniques. This one is actually a buffer brush. The reason why I actually switch between a couple different tools. I really like our buffer brush because even though I'm not diluting my foundation out, it gives me more of a sheer coverage. It's not so thick. And you can just buff it out. You don't need a lot of product when you do it this way. And you're just going to buff. So you can already see like the coverage in it, right? Like even those little blemishes I had up on my forehead, they kind of are already like buffed away, but you can still faintly see them. So we'll go back through in a second here and we're going to cover those. And if you guys have questions while I'm doing this or you're catching the replay, just drop them in the comments and I'll be able to go back and answer those for you. And I'm also going to drop, actually I'm going to put it in right now. It's our foundation quiz. And what I really like about it is it's going to give you not only your foundation color that's going to best match you, and you can forward it on to me and I'll be able to actually make sure it's like the correct color for your skin. I've gotten really good at it. So as you can see, like Gina Beige on here, for some reason it's looking a little yellow, but it's in the pink family. It's in the olives, but it's already covering. Like, look at how red my face was, and like it just evens it out. It makes it look like skin. And that's what I love so much about it, is I've tried so many different brands of foundation that this is the only one that, like, when I put it on, it doesn't feel like I'm caking makeup on my face. It feels like nothing, honestly. Like, I don't really feel it. And it looks like skin, it feels like skin. It's not this crazy heavy feeling thing. And what I actually like to do when I apply it on people is I like to have them close their eyes when I apply it, because then it doesn't, I'm like, does it feel like I'm applying anything? And they're like, no. Well, I am. So that's the buffer brush. The next tool that I recommend, especially if you like a full coverage or if you're just starting out, is going to be our Blenderful. And if you watched my live last night, what makes this such a great tool is you can use it, one, for multiple products, but you can also, it has multiple sides, so you can get into all those different areas on your face, making it kind of a one tool for everything you possibly need. So I'm going to go in and we're going to finish up on my cheeks on the one side. So how you want to do this is you take it, I'll show you, and you're going to kind of twist. Now, as you can see, I can't really do that anymore because I'm getting low, and I actually swipe it up, and then, hello Carla, and then I'm going to get the product onto the bottom of that sponge where that's that flat space. And you're actually going to take, and hopefully you can see this okay, and you're going to twist. You can see it, like, look at the coverage already. And I haven't even blended it out. So I go through and I twist. And, like, Look at that. Isn't it crazy? Like, it's it's like magic. It's like a mask in a palette. So you're just going to go through and you're just going to twist that foundation into place. Like, the coverage is amazing. And honestly, like, one of these foundation palettes, like one of these little guys, this will last me probably 3 to 6 months, depending on how much foundation and how often I do my makeup. So for $36, that's kind of a steal. So you can go through, and I specifically use this, like even when I use my buffer brush, I like to use it on my nose just because I like to apply kind of a thicker amount of foundation onto it because I'm constantly, like right now with allergies, I'm constantly blowing my nose. So I'm just gonna finish this up. And of course, you wanna make sure you blend it down. And you can see I kind of skipped my eye area because we're gonna get there in a second. And you don't need a lot of product. Like, I think that's one of the hardest parts, and even I struggled with it when I first started with Lime Life, is you don't need a lot of product to get the effect you want. You don't need that. So we'll just do this other side. Now, this is also a great tool if you have any skin type, but specifically more like dry, flaky skin, because instead of, rubbing, you can actually go through and dab. And the reason why you want to dab is because you don't want to lift up that flaky surface, right? Like, it's kind of like when you're trying to think of a good thing. Like when you vacuum, like most of the time, like when you vacuum one way, it kind of lays down all the carpet fibers. Well, obviously when you go back, it kind of raises them back up. That's kind of what I'm trying to explain, if that makes sense. But you don't want to cause that surface to rise up, because then you're going to see that your skin is dry and flaky, or it's going to also, it's just going to make your skin not look good. And I'm guilty of this. I'm human. When you do rub it, it's going to lift it up, and your skin's just not going to look good. Your foundation's not going to look good. And then when you put powder or bronzer, blush, all of that on top, it's really not going to look good. So that's where the Blunderful is excellent. And it's also, like when I showed you, like diluting it out with like Must Do or just a facial oil in general, it just works so well. Because you're going to hydrate that dry skin while also putting the coverage down. Okay. So, we did coverage. But as you can see, I kind of stayed away from like my eye area. And we're going to go back through and kind of cover up these little blemishes. And also where my glasses sit, those little pressure points, we're going to cover those. We're going to make them disappear. So that's our foundation. Our concealer also is 50% pigment. It's waterproof. It's wax-based again. And we have 8 different shades right now. And they... What am I looking for? I don't even know. But they're waterproof. A little goes a long ways. Like, these are, like, they have enough coverage in them. You can cover a tattoo. Like, I could draw on my arm with a Sharpie right now, and I could cover it if I wanted it to. Like, it's... If you want coverage, these 2 things are going to give you coverage. So we're going to go through, and we're going to do a little touch-up. And like I said with the foundation quiz, it's going to give you not only your foundation color, but it's also going to give you the 2 coordinating concealers that go with your skin tone. So with me, I need to find him. I use concealer 3. And I also use concealer 2. So one is a little bit lighter than the other. One has more of a yellow undertone, one is more pink, is how I would describe it. And the brush I really like to use to apply is that this is actually our domed blender. It's an eyeshadow brush, but it works very, very similar to our buffer brush, like the one I use to apply my foundation, in the sense that it's dense and it's excellent for getting in those small areas like underneath your eye, around your nose, and just kind of covering and touching up. You don't need a lot of surface of the brush, but it's going to give you the coverage and get right into the spots that you want to conceal. So you're just going to take it and you just kind of go like that really lightly and you get product on that, okay? So I'm going to do my under eye. And this is where, like, we're going to keep this one up because this one always seems to be darker. So you don't need a lot. Look at already, like I haven't even blended it out. It's like magic. You can get in around those little spots where like your glasses sit, kind of cover that up. And you don't, like you see all those tutorials where they're like, do the V thing. You don't have to do that. Honestly, I think it makes and emphasizes your under eye area even more. So you're just gonna go, and it's just light, like literally little light strokes. And then you can kind of buff it out. Like, look at the difference. That's just from concealer. Like, there's no foundation on my under eye. Okay, so we did that. Now I have a couple little spots up here. Gonna do the same thing, but we're gonna use concealer too, which I think has a little bit more of a yellow in it. And we're just gonna tap it and just kind of buff. What? It's like magic. Like using these products, when you go from using like a drugstore, even department store brand, like you don't realize, like, yeah, they're high quality, but they're not professional quality. Like, these are professional products that I can use. Like, and I'm still learning. After 2 years, I'm not a makeup artist by any means, but like if I can do this and make my skin look good, you can too, and I can teach you. And I love teaching people how to use our products because they're intimidating because you hear the word professional and you assume they're going to be difficult to use, and they're not. They're the exact opposite. So we did those. Now this little spot here, I actually have some redness in here, so we're going to cover up those next, but let me finish up my other eye. Actually, we're just going to do it because then I want to show you guys the comparison of how this all works out. So when you have a redness, like you can still, it's very faint, and even here. So I'm going to go back in with my Blenderful, and we're just going to use the tip here. And you're going to take, this is concealer number 1, and it's a yellow tone. And I'm just going to twist it in. See? Twist. A little bit of product. You don't need a lot of product. Get away from thinking you need a lot of product to cover your face, because you're going to get mad at yourself because you're going to waste product, and 2, your face is going to get cakey. So I mixed a little bit of our foundation in with it. And then I'm just going to dab into that area. So I apply it with this, but then I turn it so it's flat against my face. And we're just going to buff it out. You see how it's getting rid of that redness? And we can do it on the inside of our nose. It's just crazy. Like, the redness just goes away. And it's not heavy. Like, it doesn't feel here's the perfect way of describing like that heavy feel. I know most people in America love Halloween. You know when you get that face paint at Halloween, like in that little plastic thing, and you have to like coat it on and you can feel it and it just feels gross? That's not what this feels like. Okay. Look at it. Like the redness, it's just gone. Like everything's gone. It's crazy. So, another thing I really love our Blenderful for is if you have like a lighter skin tone and lighter hair color, especially back when I was bleach blonde, I like to take it and I kind of I'm trying to think of how I can show you this. And I kind of like buff it along the edges. So that way I don't have a harsh makeup line, but it's not really getting in my hair. Yeah. But look at just the difference in it. Let's see if I can get this to focus. Okay. See how like the redness is gone? Like even my under eye. Like look at here compared to here. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So let's finish up my other eye. Sorry, my stomach I'm apparently hungry. And we're just gonna do the same on this eye. Isn't it like it just instantly wakes you up? All right, I'm just gonna move my mirror a little bit closer here. And you know, if you don't have a blender full, you can go back through. So I'll show you this side with my buffer brush. So you're just gonna take a little bit of that yellow, just a little swirl, just a little bit of product is on there. I know you can't see it, but it's there, I promise. And you're just going to buff it out again. And just that little bit of concealer and that little bit of pigment change is going to cover up all that icky redness. It's pretty awesome. We're actually gonna just blend it up on my forehead where those little blemishes were. And we're just gonna smooth everything out. Like, if we could go back like 5-10 minutes when I started this, like you'd be like, are you wearing makeup? And it does. It looks like skin. It doesn't look like I have a bunch of makeup coated on my face. And again, I'm human. I'm sure plenty of you have seen me around town or you're like, Christine, what's wrong with your face today? Maybe I'm in a rush that morning. I didn't put on my setting spray. I didn't do my makeup. I didn't take the time to actually like look at myself because I just throw it on in the morning and I'm gone, right? But our foundation, it's super easy to use. It's easier, honestly, to me than using drugstore or department store branded makeup. So we've talked about concealer, we talked about foundation. We're just gonna talk about setting it. And you can, if you're comfortable enough where you don't wanna put powder on, you don't have to. You can go through and you can set it. And we have 2 different setting sprays. We have our Oil Strike, which is made for oily skin tones, and also if you like more of a matte finish, like myself. Or you can do our Time Setter. Time Setter is going to give you more of that youthful glow. It's going to leave kind of a sheen on your face, but it's also going to hold your makeup in place so it doesn't move. So at this stage, you did your foundation, you did your concealer. You can go through and you can spray your face, or you can powder it first and then spray it. So just for fun, we're going to do powder first because that's how I do everything. So we're going to get out our Perfect Press powder. And this is not scary. It's white. It's our Perfect Translucent powder. It's actually a no color powder, but because of name changes, since we went global, we can't use Perfect Press powder apparently. And if you can see, not that I'm going to use them, but we have our blush number 6 in Glowing, as well as our bronzer number 1. Our original bronzer, the OGB. So we're going to take our powder and we're going to lightly dust our face. And you don't need a lot of this. I'm also guilty of overusing it because I do not like where my face feels kind of tacky, and I don't like sheen on my face. So you're going to take your powder and you're going to take your powder brush. And you're going to take it and you just kind of wiggle. What is that? Like, look at all the powder. So I look at my face, make sure I have laugh lines. I have expression lines on my forehead. Look at those. I shouldn't have those at 30, but I do. And you're going to tap it. Tap, None of this rubby business. Tap. The reason why you're tapping is because you don't want to move the makeup that you just put on your face. You want to get that powder into its spots. And you're gonna make it so it stays. It's not gonna move. And honestly, it feels kind of nice. A lot of people call this beating their face. I don't. I call it powdering my face, but it's kind of an ongoing joke because so many people have learned that when you apply your powder, swipe it. No, you want to beat your face. So you can use a regular powder brush for this. If you want, you can go back through with your Blenderful and do kind of the same thing. Put it into the powder, give it a little twist, and you got your powder. What I like most about this is, like, on my nose, I like to set it. I like to make sure it is going to not move. Do you see white? No, you don't. It's just a no color powder that's going to set and it's going to seal in your makeup. I'm just going to go in my under eye here. Seal everything in. And there you have it. 4 products technically. And you have an even skin tone. You have skin that feels like skin, even though you have makeup on it. It's gonna match. Like, what is even more amazing to me is looking at our foundations. Like, we don't have 70 colors of foundation. And it's crazy to me how many people I can match with even my own. Like, how many people, like, usually I'm wearing an olive one. Do you know how many people I sell this to? And you'd look at it and be like, they're not the same foundation color. They are, because it almost like it blends in with your natural skin tone, and like it's like a chameleon. Like, it just kind of works. It all just works together. So yeah, if you have questions, let me know. Just drop them in the comments. If you don't feel comfortable doing that, you can private message me. But please feel free to take the foundation quiz that I posted and pin to this live. It's a super easy thing to do. It's anonymous. You don't even have to tell me you did it. But if you do, please forward me your results. Take a screenshot of it, or at least write it down and say, hey, this is what I got for a result. Is this what I would really need? And I'll give you a yes or no. So I've gotten pretty good at color matching. It's one of my favorite things to do, and I actually love quizzing myself on it. So other than that, thanks for spending day 2 with me, and tomorrow we'll have another lovely topic, and it'll be a surprise. So we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching me.